Hello, I am back today for our stability series part 2. If you haven't checked out part 1 yet and you're maybe newer to Pilates, I would go ahead and go back in the all level category and find my stability series part 1. If you've already done that, we'll go ahead and get started with our level 2 or our part 2 today. We're just going to be adding on from what we talked about and did in the part 1 series. As usual, if there's anything that's uncomfortable for you while you're doing this, please either follow along with modifications that I give, reset your bodies, or just stop the movement altogether. But we're gonna go ahead and get started on our backs. And from here, we're gonna practice that breathing. So with your hands on your rib cage, shoulders relaxed, knees bent so that the low back is nice and relaxed. You're going to start with inhaling through your nose, tongue resting on the roof of your mouth. And then as you exhale, feel as if you're blowing out through a straw. And again, deep breath in, tongue to the roof of your mouth. Now exhale through that straw, make it last longer than your breath in. And again. Inhale, feel the belly, then the chest rise and expand. And full, long breath out. And notice how when you get towards the end of that exhale, as you keep trying to push that air out, you'll feel your abdominals tighten in this more deep sense, along with the rib cage kind of guiding in and back towards your spine, almost like it's hugging into your center. So let's just do a few more breaths focusing on that. So we inhale, tongue to the roof of the mouth, belly, then chest rises. Now full exhale out through that imaginary straw. Get all of that air out. Feel the abdominals turn on, the ribs pull in and back. It'll flatten you down into the mat through your spine, and then pause. And again. Don't let the abs totally go with that inhale. Now full breath out. One more breath. And pause. Now keeping those abdominals on and your back flat, we're going to inhale to lift one leg into tabletop, just about 90 degrees. Exhale to place that foot down. Spine does not get to move here. Inhale, lift the opposite foot. Exhale as you place it down. And let your breath dictate the tempo here. Just because we're moving our body or our limbs doesn't mean that we get to start moving and therefore breathing quickly. Breathe just about as slowly as you were before. So that as that movement continues around the breath, you really get a sense of what's going on through your body. Let's do one more each. Now bring your feet and knees all the way together. Let go of your abs for a second, kind of shake it out. And now we're going to do knee fallout. So take a breath in. Fully exhale as you pull your abdominals and your ribs towards your spine. Feel that back kind of flatten into the mat. From here, we inhale one knee out to the side, not allowing your pelvis to rotate or your low back to arch. Now exhale, pull that leg back up using your inner thigh and your exhale. And now the other knee falls out as you breathe in. Full breath, exhale as the knee comes up from that inner thigh. Keep going back and forth. Don't forget that tongue resting on the roof of your mouth as you inhale. One more. And relax your abdominals. Kind of swing your hips side to side. And relax. And now from here, we're going to add on to that. Now, if that felt challenging enough still, stick with that. Otherwise, follow along with me. We're going to go into a tabletop. So take a breath in, tongue to the roof of your mouth, belly and chest expand. Full exhale out. Guide your abdominals and your ribs back towards your spine as your low back gently flattens into the mat. When your abs are set, lift up one leg at a time into tabletop. Knees coming towards your chest, feet are actively lifting, and your abdominals are pulling back. And just take a few breaths here. If you notice your low or mid back wanting to arch, or the front of your hips really wanting to activate, try bringing your knees in, getting that full exhale out with that rib cage connection and cue of pulling them in and back. If that still doesn't help, simply reach up through your arms and through the shoulders, and that little bit of serratus movement from the shoulder actually will help internally rotate your rib cage. Give me one more breath here. Now, from this position, you can keep your hands down or you can keep them reaching. We're going to inhale as you tap one toe down to the mat, pulling the lower abdominals to your spine. Exhale as that leg comes up, and obviously everything still continues to pull back. And since you're at home, and it should be a little bit more comfortable for you than when you're in a class, don't be scared here to really breathe, like make it loud. If you can barely hear yourself breathing, that means you're probably not breathing good enough. Let's do one more. And then bring your knees into your chest, gently rock side to side. Hopefully, as you were doing that, you were able to maintain a pretty still spine, even if it wasn't able to flatten all the way down, maybe because you have a really lordotic curve in your low back or something to that effect. Hopefully, you're able to at least keep it still. That would be the goal. Now we're going to add on from that. So if that was still challenging for you, please continue with the toe taps. Otherwise, we're going to lift into tabletop, ribs connecting in and back to our spines. And we're going to go into a little bit more leg extension here. So as you inhale, extend your leg, doesn't matter which one, straight out, slightly up with the heel reaching. Exhale as you pull that leg in. And now the left. Inhale as it lengthens out, abdominals back to your spine. Exhale it in. As you're doing this, if you notice it's a lot harder to keep that low or mid back down, few things you can try. Either don't extend your leg all the way out, because that does increase torque on the hip, makes it harder to stabilize. Or try straightening the leg more up towards the ceiling rather than out to the wall opposite of you. Big breath out. Pull those abdominals back. And same thing if you're getting any kind of hip popping or clicking in the front of your hip. Again, it just means you're not able to really truly stabilize with whatever position you're in. So going back to those same things, keeping the knees soft or reaching the legs straight up rather than more out will help with that popping and clicking. And then finish the one you're on, bring your knees back in, gently rock back and forth. And then we're going to go into one more just tabletop stability exercise before we talk about crunching. So this time we are going to incorporate the arms. We're going to do what's called dead bug. It's very Very glamorous name, isn't it? So we're going to take a breath in, full breath out, connect your abdominals. Now lift one leg at a time into tabletop. Once you're there and you feel like your abs are set and your spine is down, reach up through the shoulders, getting that nice, again, serratus action, which helps internally rotate your rib cage. Now from here, opposite arm and leg is going to reach out from the body. Try to tap down to the floor, though you're not going to go all the way down necessarily, and then you'll exhale them right back up to the center. Notice my knees are staying bent here. You could straighten the legs as well, but let's start off with a little less leverage and torque in the hip. As you inhale, think of keeping those abdominals on and almost feel like you're breathing into your back to help keep that spine flat. One more each. Last one. And last time, bring those knees in. Hopefully your body's starting to feel a little warm and those abs are really kicking on. And then we're going to go into some crunching here. So when we crunch, it's really easy to just simply pull on your neck with your arms and really not getting much work through those abdominals, especially the upper abs. It's also easy to think that the faster you go, the more of a burn you're going to feel, and therefore the more you're working, which isn't necessarily true. So we're going to take these crunches very slow today. With those feet flat, I want you to think of tucking your tailbone under so that you're pushing your low back into the floor. And I'll explain why we do that in a second. Now, with your hands behind your head, do interlace your fingers. Don't have light fingertips, because if you have light fingertips, you're more than likely going to use your neck a little too much. We do want the hands to help support the neck. We just don't want them initiating the movement. So with that tailbone tucked, take a breath in through your nose. Now as you fully exhale out, think of dropping your ribs down towards your hips and back to your spine. Then start to lift the head. Hands are helping to cradle that head so the neck is, for the most part, turned off. If you get that full breath out and lift, you'll really feel those abs working. Now inhale to lower your back. Don't allow your spine to arch. That's where the tucked tailbone comes in. Again, breath in, full breath out. Ribs drop, sternum drops, head lifts, but because the hands are helping, inhale to lower, keeping that spine down. Exhale right back up. Your eyes should be looking just right over top of your knees or to the middle of your thighs. And we're keeping a consistent space between your chest and your chin. So again, try not to over crunch the neck. Few more. Inhale, tongue to the roof of your mouth. Two more. Last one. And slowly lower down and relax. Go ahead and kind of gently swing your knees side to side. Now, hopefully what you were feeling there was a good amount of work in those upper abdominals right towards the top of the rib cage. And then again, that you were able to keep that low back pretty still. Again, even if it wasn't able to go all the way flat, you just don't want to feel like you're rocking your pelvis and allowing your back to arch. Now, if that felt good to you, let's lift into tabletop and do the same thing. If that was challenging, keep your feet down. But if you're coming with me, Knees towards the chest, feet up, hands still behind the head here. Nothing changes about what we're doing. So with that tabletop position, is still got that kind of low back pushing down sensation. Just simply bring your knees a little closer to your chest and feel as if you're trying to lift your hips. Kind of see what I'm doing here, that action. You're not going to actually physically lift that much, but that's what you're kind of trying to find in your body, is the lifting sensation. So take a breath in, full exhale out, curling, looking right at the tops of our knees. Inhale to lower without arching. Exhale right back up. Inhale to lower. And again. Let's do 4 more. Thinking of tucking that tailbone. Full exhale, lift 3. Pull the abdominals back so they're not popping outward. Last one. And lower back, knees into your chest. And totally relax. Woo. All right, from here, feet are going to come down. We're going to do just a little bit of bridging today. And then we're going on to our side. So with those feet flat, hip width apart, hands at your sides, take a breath in through your nose. As you exhale, start to tuck your tailbone under, peel your back off the mat as you lift your hips up into your bridge. We should not be going higher than the shoulder blades. Ribs should still feel like they're below your chest, still tucking the tailbone, abdominals are on. Now from here, really feel your right foot into your mat. Don't allow that foot to rotate out to the side. Keep the big toe down as you lift your left leg into tabletop and hold. So hopefully as you did that, because your body was already registering stability through your right foot, that hopefully translated up into your pelvis. So when you lifted that left leg, there was no major movement. Now slowly place that left foot down, ground it into the floor. So feel the whole foot, including that big toe. Lift the right leg and hold as you breathe. Good, place that right foot down. Let's do each side again. So ground the right foot into the floor. Don't let it roll out to the side. Lift the left leg and breathe. Place that left foot down. Ground into the floor. Lift the right leg. Hold and breathe. And as you're holding here, still think of tucking that tailbone and keeping your ribs down towards your spine so you're not starting to tap into that low back to keep those hips lifted. Place the right foot down, take an inhale, slowly roll down through your spine, 1 vertebrae at a time, till you're all the way down. All right, from here, we're gonna go on to a side. I'm gonna go ahead and do my right side, so if you wanna follow along with me exactly, go for it. Otherwise, doesn't matter. We're gonna be doing the same thing no matter what in both sides equally. So let's start with some leg lifts here. Let's actually extend the bottom arm today. Top arm is in front of us to give us a little bit of stability and support. Just make sure that shoulder is not hiking up. Now, bottom leg is bent, or if you want a little challenge, you can straighten it. We're thinking of guiding the rib cage back to our spine and then lifting that ab wall away from the floor. Just enough to where there's a little bit of space, not enough to where you're almost pulling yourself in the opposite direction. It should just give you that sense of stability and stillness. Now, keeping that lifted, we're going to reach out through that top heel as you lift the leg up and then lower it down. And then exhale to lift and lower. lift, and down. And as you're breathing here, in order to help keep stability, you're inhaling into your top ribs, so sensing that expansion here. But then when you exhale, it's almost like you're lifting that bottom rib cage up and in even more to help get all that air out and keep that bottom ab wall set. Lift that leg one more time. Now bring it down to where it's about level with your pelvis. It's off of the floor. And let's just do really small circles here. Breathing as you go. Hopefully you're feeling the outside of your hip. If it feels like it's a little bit more forward, then that means your leg is too far forward. And then reverse that circle. Really get back into that hip extension and see if you can still keep that stability through your center. And then slowly lower that leg down. Woo, kind of give it a break for a second. And now we're going to go into some kicks with this sideline work. So here's where we get a little bit more unstable in the pelvis just naturally because we are doing more movement. So just know when you feel more movement inevitably, that's not a bad thing. But if you start to feel your low back, if you maybe stop feeling the outside of your hip and you either don't feel your leg at all or your hip at all, or you feel it more towards the front, then that means that you're a little too unstable. So again, we think of pulling the ribs to the spine, lifting that bottom side off, and then extending that top leg out and up right from your hip. Now from here, we're going to kick that leg to the front, flexing through your heel. As you pull it to the back, think of using that glute going into hip extension. Exhale, kick to the front, flex. Inhale to the back, using that glute. And we kick. And to the back. Trying to keep the leg that's moving level with the pelvis so it's not bobbing and weaving. While that still using that exhale to lift your bottom side and the inhale to expand into the top of the rib. One more time. And relax that leg down. From here, let's come up onto your elbow. Hips and knees at about 90 degrees with your elbow directly under your shoulder. So if you don't like side planking because you tend to get a lot of discomfort through the shoulder or you feel a lot into your low back, this is a really good place to start because it's going to isolate your obliques better. It's kind of taking the legs out of the picture. So from this position, I want you to think of actively pushing down through your elbow to lift that bottom side. Pull the ribs in and back, and then feel like you're slightly tucking that tailbone under. It feels really odd if you've never done it this way. So we're slightly rounded. We're connected here without sinking too much through the chest, pressing down through the elbow. Lastly, we push both knees into the mat. We can use that top hand, lift your hips up. And if this feels really unstable to you, keep this top hand down as you hold. If you're able to stay rounded, you don't have discomfort in your shoulder, extend that top arm up and breathe. Same breath here on the side. Inhaling into your top rib, exhaling through your bottom side as you continue to press down through your elbow, which lifts that bottom ab wall even more. One more full breath. And then slowly lower that down. Sit up for a second, come into a nice mermaid stretch. If this position is challenging for you to sit in, you can always extend the legs more. Now, if that side plank was still challenging, please continue with that. Otherwise, if you feel like you're able to stay rounded, you're not getting discomfort through your shoulder, and you're able to really feel that oblique isolate, follow along with me because we're going to add a little bit of movement to it. So from here, pressing down through the elbow, pushing down through the knees, rib cage to spine, slightly round low back. We exhale to press down as we lift the hips up. Top arm comes to the ceiling. Hold for a full breath here. Now, from this position, we're going to inhale that top arm forward, still thinking of expanding into the top rib. Exhale as that arm reaches up, press down even more through that bottom elbow. Inhale to reach. Exhale it up. 2 more. Last one. Slowly lower those hips. Come on up into that mermaid stretch. Reach away. And just get a sense of that other side that we've been working, expanding and releasing with each breath. And let's switch to the other side. So again, just in general, you guys, as we're going over all of this stuff really thoroughly and slow and controlled, that is to help you with some of the other Pilates videos, or if you go into a studio at all with your Pilates practice in general, because a lot of times with classes, we just don't have time as teachers to go over all these intricacies. So use this as that tool to help better and improve your in-person or your full mat Pilates practice. So again, top arm is extended out. Bottom arm. Top arm is in front of you with support, shoulders down. Ribs to the spine, and gently think of lifting that bottom side. As we lower and lift the top leg, reaching out through the heel. And remember, leg also right out to the side. We're thinking of inhaling through our top rib and exhaling through our bottom rib and ab wall. That's going to give us that sense of a quote-unquote neutral spine here. And that continued activation through our center. So that as we're lifting and lowering or doing whatever we are with our leg, that our pelvis isn't rocking around all over the place. 2 more. And lift. Now come level with the hip. And we do small circles, breathing as you go. Still lifting that bottom side with each exhale and reverse. Thinking ribs pulling back to the spine in general. And lower that leg down and relax. Good. Give it a second. Hopefully, again, you're feeling more of the outside back of the hip rather than anything in the front. And now we're going to go into our kicks. So we extend that top leg out, ribs to the spine, lift that bottom side, top leg lifts straight up. From here, we kick to the front, feel like you're sitting into your hip. And now as you go to the back, that glute is pulling you into hip extension, not the low back from arching. I'm inhaling into my top rib, exhaling through my bottom side. And you could do the inhale and exhale either direction here. You can play with it. See which one feels more natural to you. One more time. And lower that leg down. From there, we come up onto our elbow. 90 degrees at the hip and knee, with that elbow right underneath your shoulder. Thinking of pressing down in order to lift up. Ribs back to your spine with the low back slightly tucking under for a rounded spinal position. Not this collapsing though. We push down through the knees and the elbow. Press the hips up. If you need extra support, keep this arm down. If you feel like you're able to stay tucked in your tailbone, extend that top arm up, and we breathe in through the top rib. Exhale through your bottom side. See if you can press away even more. Exhale out. One more breath. Slowly lower your hips down. You can extend your feet or legs if you need to. Take a nice mermaid stretch. Kind of play with your neck position too, depending on where you look, can increase or decrease the stretch. Then we'll come back down onto that elbow. Stick with that one if that felt challenging enough. Otherwise, we're going to move into that arm forward flexion and then extension, if you will. So knees together, bent 90-90, elbow under the shoulder blade, rounding and tucking, pressing up through the elbow and knees, top arm to the ceiling, really lengthen up, try not to over rotate. From here, we inhale that arm forward, breathing into your top rib. Exhale the arm up as you press down through the elbow, lift the rib cage even more. Exhale up. Two more times. Last one. Slowly lower your hips. And one more time, coming up into a mermaid stretch. And now from here, we're going to roll onto our stomachs. So, we're going to start with our belly breathing here. Hands one on top of the other and under your forehead. Now, from this position, all I want you doing is when you inhale, feel your belly fill up with air down into the mat, and then just simply exhale out. Inhale. And breath out. Notice your low back and pelvis expanding or giving you an expansion sensation as you breathe in and expand through your belly. One more like that. Now, a little more active abdominal work. Inhale, still expanding into your belly. Now, as you exhale, feel as if you're trying to pull your abdominals and your ribs up towards your spine. It shouldn't feel like you're crunching in your low back when you do that. And then inhale, still into the belly, but don't just let everything go. Exhale, pull your abdominals and ribs upward. A few more. One more time. And just totally relax. Kind of shake out your hips. And then we're going to add on into baby swan. So, or I'm going to say mini swan. So hands out in front. It's hard to tell maybe in this camera, but I'm in a little bit of a V shape with my arms. And my pinkies are down with my thumbs up to the ceiling, kind of like I'm making a blade with my hands. Now from here, to keep my low back and pelvis stable and try not to overuse those low back muscles, I'm going to press my pubic bone down into the floor. Hopefully you can see how that lengthens my low back. I'm going to keep my head long, almost like I'm trying to push the top of my head into the wall opposite of me. And now I'm going to keep that same breathing and abdominal activation as we just talked about and practiced. So as I inhale here, I'm going to guide my shoulder blades down as I slide my hands towards me, gently lifting my upper back and reaching my sternum out. And then I'm going to exhale as I lower, sliding my hands back forward, lifting my abdominals up. Again, inhale. Shoulder blades pull down, hands slide towards you. Feel like you're reaching your chest out. Exhale to lower, but gently lift the abdominals and the ribs. Inhale, belly fills, shoulders down, chest out. Exhale, lower as the abdominals lift. 2 more. Last one. Now from here, if that felt challenging enough or you felt a lot of low back work, stick with that. If that felt pretty good and you're like, yeah, I kept my low back off for the most part, or yeah, I didn't feel it at all, let's add on to that. Arms still straight out. So we're gonna go into our mini swan position, then we're gonna hold. So go ahead, press that pubic bone down, lengthening the low back. Pull the shoulder blades away, reach your chest out. Head is also reaching, so my neck is long. Now from here, keeping the shoulder blades pulling down on my rib cage, I'm going to inhale as I lift opposite arm and opposite leg up. Exhale to place them down, gently lift the abdominals and ribs. Inhale, belly fills, leg and arm extend out. Exhale, lower them down, but lift your abdominals. And each time I set my arm down, I'm reactivating those shoulder muscles that pull the shoulder blade down and away from my ear. 1 more. Hold. And then slowly lower down. Woo, totally relax. Hopefully as you just release down, if you felt work in your back, it was more of that mid to upper back area, not into that low back. But just in case, let's sit back into a child's pose for a second. Our knees as parallel as you can get them, arms reaching out, and breathe. Now from here, we're going to come up onto our hands and knees, and then we're going to start making our way upright. So with our hands under our shoulders, knees under our hips, we're going to take a breath in through our nose. Now exhale, feel like you're pulling your abdominals and your ribs up to your spine as you lift your spine up towards the ceiling and tuck the tailbone. Give me 3 breaths in this position. As you inhale, press down through your arms. Feel like you're filling your mid and upper back with air. Then fully exhale by pulling those abs up and in to support your spine in that rounded position. Inhale, press down. Exhale, lift. 1 more time. And slowly relax your abdominals. You can sit back, maybe tuck your toes under and stretch your feet. I don't know why, I just got an inclination to do that, so sometimes you just got to follow your body. Now we're going to add on to that. If that felt challenging enough or really stiff or you weren't quite getting the abs, you can try this next one for sure, or you can stick with what we just did. But you're going to come back, hands on the shoulders, knees under your hips. Take a breath in through your nose. Now full exhale as you lift abdominals to spine, rounding the back, tucking the tailbone. Make sure that your weight is slightly shifted forward here. You might feel those abs kick on even more. Now, keeping your position, just barely lift a hand off of your mat and give me 3 breaths. Lifting up through your mid-back. Exhale, supporting the front. One more breath. Stay round. Place that hand down as you lift the opposite and breathe again. If it helps to put that free hand on your abdominals, you absolutely can do that if you want to feel around. Still inhale and breathe into your back so you're lifting up through the shoulder blade. 1 more time. Place that hand down, and again, sit back into a child's pose, giving the shoulders a break. So if we keep getting that exhalation and keep really trying to lift the abdominals and the ribs, when we're in quadruped, whether it be planking or just any other kind of variation in that position, it should take pressure off of the shoulders and the wrists. It should honestly just feel like work through the arms. It shouldn't feel like discomfort or pressure. And in the low back as well. Shouldn't feel any kind of extra work here. Now, taking that concept, we're going to go into a quadruped hover, meaning we're going to lift the knees. So if you're not able to do that for whatever reason, do not push it. Stick with the last exercise we just did. Otherwise, follow along. We're going to take a breath in. Exhale fully, lifting your abdominals and your ribs to your spine, gently tucking the tailbone. Tuck your toes under. Keep this press down through the hands, the lift through the abs. Just barely hover those knees off of the mat and breathe. In through the shoulder blades. Out and lift the abdominals. Try not to overly tuck your chin here. That can be a lot of work for the neck. 2 more breaths. Last one. Lower the knees down. And last time, sit back into that child's pose. And now we're going to start to slowly stand up. Now, everything that we just talked about can easily be applied to planking or anything where you're doing kind of like an alternating arm and leg reach and hover. So just keep that stuff in mind when you're doing those hands and knees positions in any class that you take. From here, we're going to come into a half kneeling position. Whoop. So that front foot, whichever one it is, I want you to go ahead and place about 50% of your weight through it. A lot of times when we're here, we like to sink into that hip of the knee that's down. So I want you to think of lifting up and out of that hip. Again, placing some weight through that front leg. Now take that front heel and feel like you're trying to pull it back towards your pelvis so you feel that hamstring kick in. Now, from this position, all we're going to do is some arm movements. And I want you to think of keeping those ribs back to your spine, keeping that front heel pulling back, and that weight about 50-50. So with those arms straight ahead, inhale them out to the side. Exhale the arms forward. Inhale out. Exhale forward. So as you're doing this, hopefully you're not feeling too much wiggling. And if you are, that's okay. Just keep those little checkpoints in mind. Where's your weight at? Are you pulling that front heel back? Are the ribs to your spine? All that good stuff. And pause. Now from here, arms come up overhead, not letting go of the abs and arching. Exhale those arms forward. Two more. Last one. And let's take a little stretch here. So extend that front leg forward, flex through your heel, kind of sit back into that hip, and just breathe. If you want to sit all the way down, that's more than fine. Either way works. Come up and let's switch. All right, so again, with that top leg, we are trying to place weight into it. So we're taking weight out of that bottom knee. Pull that heel back towards your pelvis so you feel that hamstring kick in. And then lastly, take that rib cage, pull it back to your spine so it feels like you're stacking that rib or ribs right over your pelvis. Now, keeping that, this is hard enough for you, just practice holding and breathing. Otherwise, we'll add in the arms. So we inhale the arms out to the side, exhale them forward. Inhale out, exhale. And again. One more. And pause. Now the arms come up overhead without breaking through the spine. Inhale the arms up, abdominals and ribs back to the spine. Pulling that front heel back towards you, keeping weight through the front leg. One more time. And go ahead, extend that leg out. Sit back in your hips, just take a big stretch here. And hopefully that felt challenging for everybody. Even if you're a super advanced mover and you're just taking this class as a kind of refresher or reset, you should feel your whole body working when you do that. Ooh, falling over. Now, we're gonna go ahead and end with standing balance work. So with those feet flat to start with, let's just quickly go over the pelvis's role when we're doing standing balance. So if you place your hands on your hips and you start rocking your pelvis front to back. So I'm tipping forward and then I'm tucking. As you do that, notice how your weight shifts in your feet. So what you're more than likely feeling, I don't want to lump everyone together, but as you tip the hips forward, you're probably coming towards the toes. As you tuck under, you're probably coming back to the heels. So do that a few more times. And breathe. Now, kind of find that happy medium where you're not tucked, you're not tilted, you're centered, and you feel like you're right over top of your ankles. And you can close your eyes here too. And just see if that kind of stacked on top of the ankles positioning helps you with sensations of stacking, meaning that it feels like your head is right on top of your neck and shoulders, that the ribs are on top of the pelvis, and that pelvis is again over top of the ankles, which should make the legs feel active, but not like they're clenching anywhere. Now, with that sensation in mind, try to stick with that stacked sensation. Shift over to your right leg, and then we're gonna go ahead and balance. So lift that left leg up. If you want to try to keep your eyes closed, you can. Just know that it is very challenging. Our ribs are over our pelvis. Breathing as we hold. Feeling the ribs expand. Exhale, guiding everything back to your center. And then place that left foot down. Shift onto your left side. Find that activation and sensation of stability. Lift the right leg and balance and breathe. Try not to lock out your legs. If you are, you're probably shifting your weight. So again, just go back to, okay, where's my weight at in my foot? And then place that leg down. Now, again, if that's challenging for you, please stick with that as we kind of go side to side a few times here. If that was easy, let's add on to that. So shift onto that right leg. Make sure, again, feel your weight in your feet. Remember, if our pelvis is tipped forward, we'll be towards the toes. If it's tipped too far back, we'll be way far back in the heels. So find that happy medium. I'm picking a point in front of me, so if I'm not looking at the camera, that's why. Find your balance. And now just with those arms, kind of like what we did kneeling, we're just going to gently move them. So bring those arms out from the shoulders. Inhale them out to the side without losing that center. Exhale back to center. Now the arms come up overhead and center. Out to the side and center. overhead. One more each way. Place that foot down, kind of shake it out, do a little dance, and then we'll shift onto the left. So again, feel that weight over that heel, mid-foot area, I should say. Lift that leg up, stacked, ribs to the spine, arms out from the shoulders, knees soft. We inhale the arms out and center, then overhead. Ribs stay back to your spine. One more each. And place it down. Go ahead, just kind of bounce the knees a little bit. Get the body relaxed. We're gonna do one more balance side to side. Now with that one, just moving the arms around, that sometimes can feel a little bit easier because we're able to pick a point to visualize and help us balance, literally just balance with using one of our senses as we have these kind of external forces outside of us. Now, what we're gonna do is just balance again. And then I want you to literally just dart your eyes in different directions. It's gonna feel really odd, but if you think about functional movement, when we're walking around throughout the day and we're balancing with our walking or we're balancing as we go to grab something, our eyes aren't picking one point and just sticking there and going, okay, hold, 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 hold. Oh, you got it, great. No, we're darting. Someone's talking to us. We're looking away for a second. So this is a really great way to practice balance, especially as a way of injury prevention. So again, shift onto your right foot. You're over top of your ankle, feeling stacked, ribs to your spine, soft knee. Lift that foot up and find your balance. Breathing as you hold. Once you feel like you have your balance, start darting your eyes. Just in different directions, doesn't really matter where or what pattern. Up, down, side to side, diagonal. Notice if you're able to balance and do that, how your weight starts to shift. You'll feel your foot shaking for sure, but I know I just caught myself really wanting to lean forward and overutilize my back. So I pulled myself back, found my abdominals, and now I just feel that normal kind of supination, pronation of my foot. And relax down. Whew, shake it out. And one more time with the other foot. So shift that weight, find that spot over top of your ankle, abdominals back to the spine, find your balance. Now let's dart our eyes, different directions, thinking about where our weight is through our foot. Breathing. Almost done. And relax that foot. Ooh, again, just kind of take a few nice bounces, swinging the arms. Get your body relaxed if that kind of brought you into a little bit of a tense state. And now from here, just with the feet hip width apart, arms sinking down by your sides, take a deep breath in. Fill the ribs with air. Now exhale, chin to your chest. Slowly start to round down towards the floor. Take a full breath in at the bottom. Exhale to round it up, driving that tailbone down towards the floor, feeling your weight through your heels. Inhale, growing tall at the top. Exhale, rounding down. Take that final breath in. Exhale, round it up. Shoulders back. and you are done. I hope this was a challenging class for some of you. For others of you, hopefully it was a good review or just a good learning experience in general. Look for part 3 of this class coming up. And as always, thanks for moving with me and hope to see you again soon.